Hello, I've got all my lino cutting stuff out today. I did this painting in a recent video of St Michael's Mount and I want to convert it into a lino cut. So I'll just show you roughly the process that I do. This is a watercolour painting of the beach in my village. And then I copied the picture onto some lino. I'm not using this is kind of grey lino that's Hessian backed. But today I'm going to be using some rubber. And then from this, I make cards from the lino cuts and also do little framed pictures of it. And then they're the little framed prints that I do. And here's another one that I did. This is an old tin mine engine house. And here's the print that it makes. And here's the coloured version that I did of it as well. So this is the painting I did a couple of days ago. I changed it a little bit from the video. I added a few light blue touches in the water to kind of tie in with the sky colour. And I added a little bit of wash detail on the mount. I drew on the other two lino cuts freehand, but I think I'm going to trace this one just to make life easier. So I've got a sheet of tracing paper and I'm just going to get the outlines of this. Okay, so there's my rough outline and that seems okay. Then I got these rubbery blocks on Amazon. I'll link to them if they're still available on there. And just keep it in place with washi tape, and then I'm just going to try rubbing on the back with an old bone folder. I've not tried using this particular type of rubber before, so we'll see if it works like this. I'm not sure how well it'll transfer, but this would be easier than having to go over the whole lot with pencil again. Let's see how that's doing. Oh wow, that's transferred really well. Okay, great. And then I've got one of these boards. It's kind of got a bit of wood on the bottom that goes up against the edge of my table. And then this edge here, so that my rubber can fit in there. And it's really, really stable when I'm carving into it. So I can push into it quite hard without having to hold it with my hand and risk cutting into my hand. I'll just show you the lino cutting tools that I've got. Oh, I've got my boxes out. These are just drawers from an old IKEA unit. So I've got a couple of, I think these are both Essdee rollers. Then this is a block for sharpening my lino cutting tools. And that's some like resin that you rub on before you sharpen them on the leather. I've got another bit of lino block here. And I've got some fatter version of this stuff, which I used to use for making rubber stamps. This was a set of stamps that I made. So they're roses. but they're designed to layer up. So you've got a background colour, then an intermediate colour, and then a detailed colour, and the same again for the leaves. You've got the background leaf and then the detail parts of it. And just a few different materials I've picked up along the way. Then the only ink that I've used is this Schmincke Aqua Linoleum. I had an initial set of these and then I've just been replacing them with these larger tubes bought individually. And I perfectly like using it, but I haven't got anything to compare it to. That's a black one. And then my tools. I started off with one of these speedball ones, which you can get really inexpensively all over the place, and it holds different shaped blades in the barrel. And then I've got these two from Stamping Up. I got these when I was getting into stamp carving quite a few years ago now, and these felt like a really nice step up from the speedball one. And then I think last year I got some of these nice Swiss ones. I can't remember the name of them, but I'll link to them below. I think these were from Jackson Art, or they're available on Jackson Art at least. I just got a few different widths and shapes. So a couple of the V-cut ones, and then a couple of the rounder ones. So I haven't done loads of lino cutting, other than making the stamps a few years ago. I've just done these three designs. This one was a little sea swimmer swimming at night. And I just use them mainly for cards and sell them on my craft market. So now that I've got a space in the gallery in Marazion near St Michael's Mount, I thought it'd be nice to do the St Michael's Mount design and print up some cards for the gallery down there. So next I've got my design, but I need to decide which parts I want to be dark and which parts I want to be light. And this is the part that I'm not very good at working out. I'm just using my two previous designs to give me an idea really. It looks like I've taken out most of the sky as white and left the clouds as dark. So I can start with that, taking out this white here. And then most of the sea I've left dark, so I've just carved out the wave lines, so I can do that. And then I've got to figure out what I do with the mount and the buildings and everything. I'll start with the sky anyway, so I'll get on with that and speed it up. I start off by using my smallest V-shaped tool for all of the edge lines, and then I use a larger U-shaped tool to take out bigger areas. I then use a medium U-shaped tool to join up the broad areas with the fine lines. So I've done an initial cut around most of the lines. I got in a bit of a pickle with the sky and I took out some of the cloud that wasn't meant to, so I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like. I haven't taken out very much of the mount or the C, but what I'm going to do now is try printing it and see what I've got before I take any more out. I also found it different working on this rubber than the grey lino, which I'm a little bit more used to. It's a lot softer and I didn't need to put as much pressure on it, so I didn't really need these edges of the board to push against. The rubber stayed in place quite nicely. I've got some scrap card and a glass cutting mat, and then I've got this Essdee inking tray. So I've got this little Baron, it's wood covered in a kind of felt. Looking at the print, I want to smooth that line there out. I'll clean up around the castle in a couple of places. Level that off a bit. I'll just smooth these lines off here. That point there, that point there. Clean those up a bit. Yeah, just clean that whole section there up. I think what I might do is take out all of this kind of seaweedy area here, make that white, and then take out some white on the other side here. So I've cut away a little bit more and I'm going to test it again now. I repeat this refining and printing process about 5 more times. So I'm happy enough with my design now. I've got out my little press. I can't remember the name of the company, but I'll link to it down below. I'm just popping some printer paper in. I'm not worrying about cutting down my block because I'm going to do the prints and then use a guillotine to neaten them up afterwards. I've just inked that. I made a dark indigo colour out of ivory black and Prussian blue. So I'll print off a few of those and then I'll turn them into cards. I've printed off a couple dozen card fronts now, and this is the first time that I've properly used this press. And I have to say it makes life so much easier. Before I was using this Baron to do all the printing, and it was really hard on my wrists, whereas this thing is only taking one press and I'm getting really good clear impressions every single time. So I'm delighted with this. I then used this Scotch Advanced Tape Glider to stick down my print onto a card blank, and then it's good to go. Hopefully it was interesting to see the process of my printing. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye!